Hello and welcome back to the 2019 Formula 4 Southeast Asia Championship, fueled by Petron. My name is Aaron Thompson. We're going to get you to all of the action in the fifth race of the season. But before then, let's have a quick chat with Alex Young and Peter Thompson.
Hey guys, good to be here with Alex Young this weekend.
Great to be here. It's an exciting weekend, lots of very fast kids and cars. So it's back to you at race control.
And Alex Young Jr. over here.
Thanks, Alex and Peter. Now let's head up to race control to watch the start of the race. We're about to get underway. There you go. The red lights are out. And here we go. You see the cars all got away clean. Nobody's got any problems. Spreading out a little bit. Looks like Josh is trying to block off number 3 and number 58. That's Elias and Luca just behind him. Elias trying to go around the outside. Doesn't quite keep it, and coming up the inside in the pink car, that's Alistair Young. There's contact between Alistair Young and Elias, but both cars keep going. It was just a little touch, and around turn 2 now. Is that Elias back into P4, just ahead of him? Who would that red car be? Looks like it could be Malte Jacobson. Malte driving a red car this weekend. Can't quite make out the numbers, but Josh Smith, the number 5, is right at the front. Just behind him, Luca Allen. As we said, Luca's got fresher tires, and it does seem to be an advantage because he's right up behind the driver. 46 and 10 there, trying to make a move. 46, that is, of course, let's have a quick look. Lubov, and 10, that is the new driver, Arya Singh, coming from India. Coming around turn 5 now, we can see Josh still ahead of Luca, but the two drivers do seem to have pulled out a little bit of a lead from Elias, who's managing to hold on to his 3rd position. Elias had a little bit of trouble in turn 1 and 2, where there were some drivers trying to get past him. Alistair Young made a little bit of contact, I think, as well. That's the pink car just behind on your screens a moment ago, as they all come down the straight now up until turn 9. This is a great place for Luca to try and make a move. He's going to dive up the inside. Doesn't look like it. Might hold on, try and get the gap as close as it could possibly be, and make the move at turn 15, where he's more confident. But look here, we've got a spin at turn 9. That's Ali Akabi in the red number 64 car. Ali driving out of Jordan, and I hope he can rejoin the race. He didn't seem to go off, so we should see him back on the screen in just a moment, as Josh now takes us around turn 11. Here comes the right-hander of turn 12. A complicated section now, turn 13, right into turn 14, and then the big long straight back down the end of the circuit until you reach turn 15. Here we go, Luca a little bit wide there, but he's got the slipstream, so he's going to be able to catch back up to the driver ahead of him. As we can see, all the cars still quite close together, but Alistair seems to have suffered a little bit. Maybe he's got a little bit of damage on his tire where he came into contact with Elias. Coming around turn 15 now, though, Luca doesn't try to make a move, but he does look like he's going to get a better exit. Maybe not quite, because he's still in behind Josh Smith, but he's got the slipstream now. Quick replay of the beginning of the race, I believe now. No, this is the action with Ali Akabi. Let's see what happened to him. You can see he's coming around. Oh, somebody touched him just behind him. There's a red car just behind him. That could be Malte Jacobson, but I didn't see the number. Could be Malte Jacobson, touched into the back of his car, and oh, here we go. Something's happening now here with Josh Smith and Luke Allen. Luke obviously made a move on the straight coming down to turn 1. It did look like Luca got a better exit coming out of turn 15, and now he's closed the deal. And Luca Allen from Ireland up into P1, but we've got Josh Smith right up behind him. You can see how close they are, and Elias Sapanen getting a nice exit coming out of turn 3, because these two drivers are fighting for position now. So Elias is going to be, doing faster lap times. You can see already how close he is now to Josh. He's going to make a move coming up the inside perhaps of turn 5. Can he do it? No, he's going to go around the outside. That might set him up nicely for turn 6. And Josh trying to go up the inside of Luca. Luca taking a little bit of a wide line through turn 5 there, but maybe that sets him up nicely for turn 6, because turn 7 and 8, ladies and gentlemen, these Formula 4 cars is an overtaking corner. So here we go. Not quite close enough between Josh to make anything happen, and Elias a little bit too far back as well to try and make a move. But turn 9 is a big braking at about the 50-meter mark, so we very, very well may see something happen yet, but unfortunately not quite now. I'm sure there's more action going on down the grid as well with some of the new drivers like Arya Singh, and there we go, there's a pink car, that's Alistair Young, and I think behind him is probably Arya Singh, perhaps in an orange car, but I couldn't quite make it out. Could be Malte Jacobson. Of course, we know Malte, fantastic driver. He's been up on pace. He's just behind in qualifying by about 5/10, but he's going to be challenging for the lead, I'm sure, very soon. And just look at that pink car and that red car could be Alistair Young and Malte Jacobson on our screens. Yes, it is. Malte just 6/10 behind him. Could be a good battle to watch there, because Elias just set the fastest first sector this lap, and Luke Allen just set the fastest third sector this lap. So let's see what happens. We know that Josh Smith has in qualifying. He was a little bit slower in sector 3. He found all of his time in sector 1 and 2, but he stayed out until he perfected sector 3. And so we'll see that the race is going to be very, very close indeed today. But as we said, Josh has 12-lap-old tires after qualifying, and Luca has 3-lap-old tires, so he definitely has an advantage. Looks like there's a bit of grass or dirt thrown up into the air there coming out of the exit at 10:15. Somebody's obviously gone a little bit wide, but that's going to be very interesting coming out to turn 1 now. If we focus on these 3 cars in the middle of your screen, we can see 3 red cars, looks like 1 orange, that's number 13. Number 13, that would be Muiz Mashaffer. We know him from last year, and I'm sure Malaysians all love him because he's their man to win the championship perhaps this year. Just behind him, number 34 and number 8, that's Malte Jacobsen, and number 8 and number 34, that is Shihab Al-Habsi. Shihab, of course, has some experience with F4 last year. He won some races in Spain this year. He's back in Asia this weekend to see what he can do in front of the Asian crowds. As Alistair Young there in the purple, number 22, just in front of, that's number 13, as we spoke, Muiz Mashaffer, who's gotten past Malte Jacobsen. Now there's an orange car behind Alistair he has to worry about, rather than the purple car, or the pink car, rather than the red car of Malte Jacobsen. Coming around turn 5 now, this battle continues for the 4th, 5th, and 6th positions, but back in the front of the grid, Luke Allen just set the fastest first sector of the race, the fastest second sector of the race, and set the fastest lap last time around, and he's going about 3/10 faster everywhere. Well, almost 2/10, sorry, rather, in the first sector, about 1/10 in the second sector. And so we'll see now in a moment in sector 3 what happens, as looks like Muiz has a little lockup coming into turn 9. That's going to give Malte Jacobsen the opportunity he needs to catch back up to the Malaysian driver ahead of him and perhaps make a move. Of course, I'm sure at the front of the grid, Josh Smith is not very happy, having started on pole position, to drop down into second. He's going to be challenging Luca everywhere he can, and we know from qualifying he's incredibly quick. He consistently in the 213s. At the moment, all the drivers still in the 215s. Of course, it's a little bit colder this morning, and the tires are not quite as fresh as they were in qualifying. And now Josh has got to worry about Elias. You can see how close in behind him Elias is as they come down the back straight now into turn 15. Here we go, Elias making a move up the inside of Josh Smith, but Josh closes the door, doesn't let him go anywhere. That might affect the exit for Elias, who doesn't seem to have quite as fast an exit as Josh does. But perhaps I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong for the young Finnish driver, because he's going to want to try and make a move coming out of turn 1. But look at these 4 cars all fighting for 4th position there, ladies and gentlemen. That's Alistair Young, Muiz Mashaffer, Malte Jacobsen, and Shihab Al-Habsi. All the drivers separated by about 3/10 on track, as looks like Shihab is trying to make a move there. Very aggressive move there from Shihab, switching back to the outside as Malte blocks on the inside. That's going to scrub a lot of time from him, really, coming through these 2 corners. But he might be able to gain it back up, because there's a nice, almost flat corner here through turn 3. It actually dips down quite significantly, which you can almost see on that camera angle, before the serious uphill climb of turn 4, which you can just about make out from this angle. And here we go. Looks like Shihab's going to make a move as well. He's really going left and right very hard, trying to find a way past the Danish driver. Of course, Malte is fresh off of an event at Sepang 2 weekends ago, and that's going to give him a small advantage over the driver behind him. Shihab in qualifying did a 2:14.502. That's just about 3/10 behind Malte, but he does seem to have the pace right now to try and overtake the driver ahead of him. As we look quickly back to the front of the grid, that's Luke Allen in the blue car from Ireland, coming down the back straight. But look at this, race fans. We've got Josh Smith setting the fastest first sector so far, 29.082. That's a 10th faster than Luke Allen's time. He's a little bit slower in sector 2, about 8/10. About 800 slower in sector 2, so he's still about 2/10 up in the lap so far. As it looks like here, something is going to happen between the 2 Malaysians. This is Team Malaysia fighting for a 4th position, I should say. The pink car, that's Alistair Young. Just behind him is Muiz Mashaffer. Hopefully we'll get a look now as these 4 cars battling for a 4th position. The pink of Alistair Young and the orange of Muiz Mashaffer. Just behind them, the red cars of Malte and Shihab. Let's see what happens as they come around turn 15. Turn 14, I should say. Everybody seems to be in the same position, but they are so close together. You know something's going to happen coming down into turn 15. And just behind them in the blue number 19, that's Amir Harris, another Malaysian joining us this weekend. First time in a Formula 4 car, already on the pace, probably because of the open data rule, which really helps everybody out. But look at this, Shihab Al-Habsi dives up the inside, tries to make a move, but he takes out Alistair Young in the process, and both cars are now beached in the gravel trap. That's the pink car, or the purple car of Alistair Young, number 22, just behind him, the red car of Shihab Al-Habsi. Shihab makes a beautiful move, trying to come up the inside of turn 15, manages to get past the driver on his outside, tries to take the Malaysian as well, can't quite manage to do it though, unfortunately. Looked like he might have locked up a little bit. Perhaps we'll get a replay so we can, here we go, here's a quick replay. Look at this red car, number 34, he tries to make the move up the inside of the two Malaysians, locks up slightly, and then just goes straight into the pink car of Alistair Young. That is terrible news for the Malaysian driver, because he's been driving fantastically and was on pace for a fourth overall position. But now this is good news for Muiz Mashaffer, because he's up into fourth and he can start trying to catch up to Elias Sapanin, and he's only got 1.5 seconds to catch, and with 10 minutes to go he could do that, especially because Josh and Elias are going to be fighting tooth and nail for position, and neither of these drivers is going to give up second place very easily. But back to the front of the grid, we've got Luca Allen, who's set the fastest sector 2. Once again, Luca down into the 2:14s, but Josh Smith is the man to talk about, because he's in the 2:13s. So Josh is now catching in on the driver ahead of him, Luca Allen. He's got 1 second to catch, and with 9 laps to go, he could do something about it. But unfortunately, I've just seen on our board, we've got safety car notice. You can see everybody seems to be slowing down. I'm sure we'll see the marshals waving the double yellows when we get round to the next marshal post. And I'm not sure what that means, ladies and gentlemen, but what it means for sure is that these drivers are all going to be bunched back up again, so we're going to have a restart. We're going to be in a position where Josh Smith is going to be able to make a move on Luke Allen. He's not going to have to waste time trying to catch the driver up, so he's going to have, presumably we might be able to clean the cars within the next lap. Let's say it takes 2 laps, that's 4 minutes time. So we'll have 5 minutes of racing left. That's about 3 laps, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll have a very interesting race to the finish between Luke Allen, Josh Smith, and Elias Sapanin. But the wild card this weekend, or this race I should say, might be Muiz Mashaffer. He's going to be in P4, just a 10th behind the leaders at the start of the race, and that make the restart, and that makes things very interesting. But let's have a quick replay at the start of the race now. Here we go. Red lights off. Everybody's away good. Looks like that Shihab Al-Habsi dives down the inside, while Elias and Luca drive down the outside. Josh has a night job to cover everybody, while the 2 cars on the outside there, that's the blue number 19 of Amir Harris and the pink car of Lubov, I believe, try and make a move on each other. Elias tries to go around the outside, doesn't quite have the momentum. Here comes Alistair up the inside. Little bit of contact now as the two red cars there, that's probably Ali Akabi and Malte Jakobsen trying to make a move as well, but nobody quite close enough. Just behind them, Muiz Mashaffer trying to do something as well. Back to the front of the grid with the safety car now. We are still under safety car. We will be for at least 1 lap as they clear the cars of Alistair Young and Shihab Al-Habsi from turn 15. Let's have a quick look at that accident now once again. In just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be up on your screens. Here we go. This is Shihab Al-Habsi, the man to watch, in the red number 34. 2 Malaysians ahead of him. He tries to dive up the inside. It was a beautiful attempt, but he just locks his left front tire a little bit. And that just sends him straight off the edge of the corner. He touches into Alistair, and then the 2 push each other into the gravel trap. You can see them locking the wheels, trying to do something about it, trying to get away from the accident, but unfortunately at that point the cars are out of their control. Back to the front of the grid again, safety car. You can see the blue car of Luca Allen just behind him. In effect, ladies and gentlemen, once the safety car comes in, the first place driver, that would be Luca Allen, becomes the safety car. So the safety car will turn off its lights at around turn 10. That means it's coming in. Once it enters the pit lane, the blue car of Luke Allen becomes the safety car. He controls the pace of the race until they cross the start-finish straight, where we are underway once again. Hopefully that'll be this lap. Maybe we'll get a message from race control now to tell us, but if we don't, we'll find out as the car comes around turn 10, 11, which is where its lights will go out. If its lights extinguish, that means we'll be having the end of the safety car period this lap, I should say. If not, there'll be 1 more lap, I think, at the very most, as they recover the 2 cars, just to make sure safety is the top priority here in Formula 4, especially with these young drivers. Make sure everybody has a chance to get up into Formula 1 one day, and I'm sure some of these athletes will be doing just that, like Luca Allen, Josh Smith, Elias Sapanin. Muiz Mashaffer might be able to find his way there from Malaysia. Everybody knows Malaysia needs a new Formula 1 champion, and perhaps behind him Malte Jakobsen. I'm sure that's his goal as well. And here we go around turn 12 now, 13 coming up next, then the sharp right-hander of turn 15. Very interesting section of corners, a little bit tricky to navigate because turn 13 flows into turn 14 so neatly. It's kind of like turn 7 and 8 where they're almost one corner really. Back down the back straight now, you can see the safety car's lights are still on and the safety car board is still being displayed, which means we're going to have one more lap with 5 minutes to go. Let's say it takes another 2.5 minutes. That means there's going to be 3 minutes left, which gives us, at the restart of the race, which gives us about 2 laps. So let's see what's going to happen. I don't see the cars of Alex de Jong and Shihab Al-Habsi on the outside of turn 15 anymore, so hopefully that means they've been cleared away. We saw both the drivers get out of the car. It wasn't a very serious accident, so everybody's fine. We just needed to clear the cars away because that's a place where there's likely to be an accident, and you can't have an obstruction there because then it's something for cars to collide with, and that's just not safe racing. So of course the race director made the right decision, get the safety car out, clear those 2 vehicles, and in a few laps we'll be underway again. Hopefully this lap we'll see the safety car light come out at turn 8, turn 10, and then we'll be underway as they cross the start-finish straight with Luke Allen, of course, leading the pack. But we saw that Josh Smith actually did the best lap of the race so far with a 2:13.984, the only man into the 2:13s. Of course, we know he's been super quick in qualifying. He did drop back a little bit in the race during the beginning of race 1, but that might be because his tires are a little bit older than Luke Allen. But he definitely is catching the driver ahead of him, at least before the safety car. He's about 0.04 of a second faster than the driver in front of him now. That doesn't sound like a lot, ladies and gentlemen, but it's all you need in these cars because they are so close together. Just got a message now from safety car telling us that telling us the safety car is coming in this lap, but before then, let's have a quick run down the positions at the moment. We've got Luca Allen in first, Josh Smith just behind him, Elias Sapanen in third, Moise Mishafra just behind them, Malte Jacobson just a little bit further down the grid. 6th place is Amir Harris, very good for him because this is his first time in a Formula 4 car. 7th place is Lubov. 8th place, I should say, is Rio Mikado. Then Sneha Sharma, Alia Kavi, Mira Erda, and Arya Singh. Alia Kavi had some really bad luck at the beginning of the race where it looked like Moise Mishafra came into the back room at turn 9 and he spun around and he had to rejoin. But until then, he'd been up in P5 or P6, I believe. So very unfortunate news for the Jordanian driver, especially since last weekend as well. He had a little bit of bad luck with some collisions, and something's gone wrong there with the yellow car number 6. Everybody was piled in very close together. It looks like there might have been a little bit of contact, and that car is now might have been touched a little bit, unfortunately, which is not necessary under the safety car, guys. So let's try and avoid that in the future. But he's definitely managed to get going again, which is good to see. Number 6, that is Rio Mikado. So here we go. Rio, unfortunately, now back at the back of the grid as the safety car lights are off. So we can see Luke Allen slowing everybody down there. Let's have a quick replay of what happened. Looks like the car just behind him, number 9, that's Sneha Sharma. No, there's the car in front of him. Car in front of him was waving around a little bit. That's car number 46. That would be Lyubov, was waving around. He tried to make action to get away from it. It didn't really go in his favor though. Anyway, back to the start now. We can see Luca speeding up already as we come around turn 15. Safety car is nowhere in sight. So as we cross the start-finish straight, then we'll be back in action. We can see how close Josh is. Let's say the gap when they come across the start-finish straight. Here we go. They are 0.3 apart as they cross the start-finish straight. Looks like number 13, Moise, trying to see what's happening at the front of the grid, maybe making a move, trying to warm his tires up, coming down into turn 1. Nobody tries to make a move, unfortunately, a little bit too far back. That might be the smart decision, though, because they can use the slipstream and try and perfect a move coming into turn 4, which is a great place to make something happen. Let's see what happens as they come up now. Turn 3, the little hill before turn 4. Let's see if anybody's close enough to make a move. Everybody does seem to be maintaining their current positions. We can see 2 orange cars a little bit further down the order. Might be trying to make a move now. Let's stay and see what happens. That's 36 and number 10. That's Arya Singh and Shihab Al-Habsi. Here we go. Sorry, not Shihab Al-Habsi. Number 36. That's Mira Erda and Arya Singh. There we go now around through turn 5. Let's see how everybody's coming through. At the front of the grid, we can see Luke Allen still leading us with Josh Smith a little bit squirrely under exit there of turn 6. 1 minute left to go on the board, and they're only halfway around the track, which would mean this must be the last lap. So Josh is going to have to make a move if he's going to do anything. Race Control just confirmed this is the last lap, so come on Josh, you've got to pick up the pace, you've got to catch this Irishman just ahead of you. You do seem to be a little bit back, but we know you can do it. We know you've got the fastest lap on the track at the moment, and that's still the case. Coming around in the first sector, he was about a hundredth of a second faster. Second sector a little bit down. That's where Luca has gained his time. Let's see what happens in sector 3 now as they cross through turn 11 and 12. And there we go. No. Josh Smith again faster in sector 3. That's brilliant news for the Australian driver, because this is his last opportunity now. If he's going to make anything happen, he's got to do it at turn 15, the final turn and the final lap. We've seen this happen before. What can these drivers pull? What can these drivers make happen? Come on, they can do it. Let's do it. Let's see. Let's see. Come on, Josh. Make a move up the inside perhaps, but he's just a little bit too far back and he can't make anything happen. So Elias Sapanin just behind him. He's going to have to try and duck in behind as well. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this would mean that Elias Sapanin is going to be the rookie winner. Just behind him, we've got Moise Mushafa just out of the top 3 position, and behind them Malte Jacobson. Let's see if anybody can make a move as they cross the start finish straight. Nobody quite close enough to make anything happen, unfortunately. That safety car period, although it brought everybody back up together, it unfortunately didn't manage to make anything happen for any of these drivers in the last lap.
Good start, and then I was sat behind Josh then after the first corner. Yeah, I just stayed consistent and then got a run on him on the main straight. Luckily it was nice fair racing between me and Josh. It was just consistency that got me my small gap, but Josh was really quick and he kept that gap to as small as possible, so he kept the pressure on me at all times. But yeah, I was relieved coming over the finish line to take the win. Obviously you don't really want safety car coming out when you're winning and you have a rhythm. Yeah, I think it was fine. Josh did a good job to keep on me after the safety car and keep the pressure on. Yeah, obviously thanks to my dad especially and all my family for the support and getting me here in the first place, and then the sponsors that help on track and help me get to all the test days.
First of all, I was stoked to get my my first pole in car racing. I rehearsed the start a million times overnight, probably didn't get enough sleep. Fortunately, I got a really good start and was able to take the race line into turn 1, didn't have to defend. And then Luca did a great job on cold tyres to close in that gap and got the run on me going into lap 2. After the first few laps, when everyone's tyres started to get hot and a bit more worn, I started to close the gap, and then safety car came out and yeah, just let my brakes and tyres get a little bit too cold, so I wasn't able to make a move anywhere. I'm really happy to get my first ever podium in car racing. Unfortunately, it wasn't P1, but that's all right. We'll go one better eventually. First, shout out to my dad, who has gone through a lot to get me over here in such a short notice, and all the rest of my family for supporting me. My brother, sister, mum, all my cousins, everyone's been messaging me, supporting me.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, really, we've reached the end of the race. So for me, Aaron Thompson, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon.